going on, guys? Sam Adams here, and welcome to The Drop, which is a weekly series I do every single Monday right here on the YouTube channel, where I go through the top video game releases of the week and let you guys know what new games are coming out, just in case you might want to pick up something new. And this week is a pretty packed week. We've got stuff from Hitman all the way down to Metroid Prime Federation Force, which is kind of controversial if you guys haven't been keeping up with it, but there is a ton of stuff to cover, so without further ado, let's go ahead and jump into it. Starting things off, we have Bound coming to the PlayStation 4 as the final Play 2016 title for the entire promotion. Now, I have to admit that it's a pretty good one to end on. It's pretty much a 3D puzzle platformer that features a ballerina and some incredible music, and although it does sound pretty weird, I definitely did fall in love with it after watching the trailer, and it's one of those ones that I'm definitely going to pick up whenever it goes on sale, or maybe even this week, since it is a couple of bucks off with that PlayStation Plus subscription. But I tried to figure out a way to really describe the game perfectly, and I couldn't find a way to do it, so without further ado, just check out this E3 2016 trailer and tell me that isn't gorgeous. Now, what's cool is that the developers actually describe this title as a not game, kind of like Journey, almost like Abzu, even though Abzu is more of a game than Journey, kind of like a Flower thing, where it's more about the experience and the story that's being told, and it's quite narrative-driven in its nature. That being said, it can also be played by the hardcore gamers, as the developers described it, who want more of a puzzle game. You can focus on the puzzles themselves, and you'll probably get a lot of enjoyment out of that. Either way you want to play it, it still looks like it's going to be a pretty good game. So to finish out the Play 2016 promotion, you've got a beautiful game, a beautiful soundtrack. Overall, it's just a gorgeous experience, and it's been well optimized for the PlayStation 4 itself, so hopefully it's going to be one of the best experiences that Play 2016 has to offer, and probably one of the best indie experiences on the PlayStation 4 in the entire year. Now, next up, we have Grow Up, coming to the PlayStation 4, Xbox One, and PC. Now, this is the sequel to 2015's Grow Home, which was kind of a sleeper hit that no one really expected from Ubisoft. Obviously, they were in the middle of, I believe, recovering from Assassin's Creed, one of them, either Unity or Syndicate, and it was just kind of a weird time to be a Ubisoft fan. But then Grow Home came out, and it was kind of a palate cleanser. It was almost like a little indie game that showed that Ubisoft still had some passion behind it, and apparently they thought that it was successful enough to go ahead and make a sequel. Now, when you're looking at the gameplay itself, you might notice that it looks a lot like Grow Home, but there are a couple of features in there that build on the initial foundation that was laid down in the original game. First off, you have a new ball mode that you can actually use to get yourself around the world a little bit easier. You can bounce, you can roll, and that definitely speeds up the transportation when you're going from point A to point B. Now, especially if you're up a lot higher on some of the plants and other surfaces that you might find yourself, you might want to use the power glider that lets you soar from one location to another without necessarily touching the ground or falling thousands of feet to your death and then having to work your way up for like a freaking hour to get at the top of this little star plant that you would work so long to get up to. Now, what's cool is that there's also this thing called the Floridex 3000, and of course, within the original Grow Home game, you found these plants that you could bounce on that got you to different levels within the game a lot faster than just traversing them yourself, and then you just kind of found yourself without these plants eventually and having to climb all the way up. Now, of course, you do have your ball mode, you do have your power glider, but with the Floridex 3000, you can literally summon any kind of plant that you've discovered in the world at your whim. So if you wanted a giant plant to bounce on, or any of the other new plants that are coming in with Grow Up, you can actually actually just have them right there at the click of a button, and you're able to use them to get around the world, which I thought was a pretty cool addition to the gameplay. Now, for those concerned about the narrative or the story that's within the game, pretty much Mom has been destroyed your giant planet, and she has now been scattered around the world, and so you, Bud, the botanical utility droid, has to go around and, find all the pieces to put her back together, which I suppose is pretty cool. It's a good stand-in for having those diamonds from the original game, and for those that are fans of collectibles, you can definitely find yourself collecting stuff for hours within Grow Up. Basically, what it comes down to is that if you enjoyed the original experience that Ubisoft provided in Go Home, you're going to be getting that exact same thing with new features, new bells and whistles in Grow Up whenever it comes out on the PlayStation 4, Xbox One, and PC this week. Now, next up, we have Hitman Episode 4 Bangkok, which is coming on the PlayStation 4, Xbox One, and PC for those still interested in the Hitman game that came out towards the end of 2015, if I remember correctly. Now, this game, I did not expect it to be the kind of game that it is. It still brings people in to date, and the people that love this game are truly passionate about it, because every time I see a new episode of this come out, people on forums, people on Reddit, they all come out of the woodwork and cannot wait to get their hands on these new assassination contracts and the new adventures that they have with Agent 47, and I think that is pretty cool that the game has lasted this long, and it certainly doesn't look like it's stopping here. Now, all of that being said, what exactly does Hitman Episode 4 entail? Pretty much it takes place in Thailand, where Agent 47 has traveled, but he is not going there on vacation. Instead, he is fulfilling a contract that he has for indie rock star Jordan Cross and his lawyer while they're staying at the Himapan Luxury Resort. Now, this is a really cool level and a really cool episode to release for Hitman, because obviously, hotels are one of the fan-favorite places for people to have assassinations in, because they are so crowded, they are so challenging, and it's always been kind of an iconic setting for the entire Hitman franchise. Of course, you've got that hotel, you've got rock stars, you've got tons of money, and you've got Bangkok, Thailand with Agent 47. It's going to be a really cool episode for those that are still interested in Hitman, and it does come out this week, like I said, on the PlayStation 4, Xbox One, or PC, wherever you happen to have the original base Hitman game. Now, next up, we have Poncho coming to the Wii U, and it's already available on the PC and the PlayStation 4, and there is a Vita version coming out at some point, though no release date has really been announced for that, but I would expect it pretty imminently after the release of the Wii U version. That's just my guess. Now, all of that being said, what exactly does the story entail? It pretty much follows the story of a robot in a world where humanity has been wiped out, and you use 3D thinking in a 2D world where you overcome obstacles to make it to the Red Tower and find your maker, which very well might be the last chance to save whatever remains of humanity itself. Sounds very dramatic, looks really cute and adorable, and it has quite a nice retro feeling to it. Now, of course, like I mentioned, you're pretty much thinking in a 3D way in a 2D world, which definitely brings me to the point that the dimensions play a big role in the puzzle-solving thing here. You're jumping back and forth between the foreground and the background a lot, and you're just trying to kind of overcome obstacles like I mentioned, but it definitely looks cool on the PlayStation 4 and the PC version of the game, and I feel like that kind of dimension hopping is going to lend itself very well to the Wii U hardware, since it does have that gamepad and that second screen experience. Now, how the developers actually use that second screen, not really sure of, but if they did utilize it to its fullest potential, I have no doubt that Poncho is going to be right at home, if not preferred, on the Wii U from here on out. Now, next up, we have Metroid Prime Federation Force coming to the Nintendo 3DS. Now, in my recent memory, I have never seen a game that has gotten so much negative publicity right out of the gate. Whenever it was announced at E3, people absolutely dogged this game out. The trailer has an incredible amount of dislikes as compared to likes, and I can sort of understand why. Pretty much it is a Metroid game, but it's not a Metroid game. It's simply set in that universe, and you find yourself a member of the Elite Federation Force who is protecting the Galactic Federation against evil. That's pretty much the basic understanding of it, and you have these suits, kind of like Samus's suit, that are called mechs, and you can customize them, put new weapons on them, and pretty much that's how you fight your enemies within Metroid Prime Federation Force. Now, of course, it is a first-person shooter, and it is on the 3DS, so it's definitely not lending itself to the hardware that it is on. However, after looking at some gameplay, after taking into consideration that it is on the Nintendo 3DS, it doesn't look like that bad of a game, but the reason the thing is getting so much hate is because it is titled Metroid Prime. People are expecting a Metroid game whenever they sit down to play this game, and so to see this weird creation, I mean, look at it.
Bombardment incoming.
Now, in my opinion, the game doesn't look to be that bad. It looks to be about a 6 or a 7, but thanks to that overhanging Metroid Prime title, this thing is probably going to end up being a 2 or a 3. I can't recommend that you pick this one up right out of the gate, because chances are it's going to be quite broken and receive minimal updates because people are not excited about this game. But my fingers are crossed for a good one. It's not going to be one that goes down in history, other than the fact that it's the Metroid Prime game that certainly wasn't a Metroid Prime game. Now, last but not least, we have F1 2016 coming to the Xbox One, the PlayStation 4, and the PC. Now, of course, this is a game that has a very dedicated fan base because it is pretty much the cream of the crop when it comes to Formula 1 racing experiences and simulators. Now, as I was doing some research on this game, as I do with every title that I do here on the drop or I cover here on the drop, I was looking at the key features. Now, on this key features page, there are literally 3 columns with between 2 and 3 sentences apiece. And so instead of trying to make this game sound like someone who put a lot of time into the marketing and really trying to sell this to a new crowd, I suppose they just assumed the people that already had the F1 games from the past are just going to come out of the woodwork and buy this new version of the game. So let's just go ahead and read off the key features. Create your own legend in F1 2016 with the most immersive career mode we have ever put into a game, spanning up to 10 seasons. With iconic safety car and virtual safety car, the paddock, key features from the world of Formula 1, and all the drivers, teams, and circuits, F1 2016 is the most complete F1 experience ever seen in gaming. Experience the height of the pre-race tension and feel the pressure of all important start with the introduction of the formation lap and manual starts. You are in control. So like I said, it's not looking to be too revolutionary, but if you are a fan of Formula 1 racing and you're a fan of the Formula 1 games, you're probably going to enjoy F1 2016, and it's coming out on the PlayStation 4, Xbox One, and PC this week. So there you guys have it. I hope you have enjoyed this edition of The Drop. If you did, drop me a like down below and let me know what games you are looking forward to. Did anything on the list this week strike your fancy? My personal favorite was probably Poncho on the Wii U. I don't even own a Wii U, but this game looks to be so much fun, and I might even play it on the PC if I do take a gander at it, or maybe I might wait for the Vita version, who knows. But if you happen to be new to the channel, I do upload new stuff like 3 or 4 days a week depending on the week, so there's always something new right here on the channel when you drop by to watch some videos. But as for right now, I want to thank each and every one of you guys for watching this particular video. I'll talk to you soon. Peace.